The number one marketing strategy for 2025 is something that has totally shifted our business over the last 8 months. It has reduced our cost per acquisition by over 65%. It's decreased our sales cycle by over 14 days. And to make the best part that puts a smile on my face, it's taking my time to manage our marketing systems and marketing tasks down from 27 hours a week to just 3 hours a week. But you may be wondering, why do I even need a new marketing strategy? Well, let's take a look at some data. Over the last year, we have seen a massive shift in the amount of content that AI is generating. For instance, AI content generation has increased by 2,300% in the last year alone. And I did not say 23%, not 230%, 2,300%. Experts at Quidjust believe that by 2026, over 90% of all content is going to be created by AI. Now, if you looked at your P&L, you may have noticed my acquisition cost or cost per acquisition has increased. HubSpot released a state of marketing report in 2025 that shows an increase in client acquisition costs by 41%. And lastly, consumer trust is ultimately at an all-time low. This would explain why it is costing more to generate a customer. And with that coincides with attention. Consumer trust has been shown in the 2025 Edelman Trust Behavior Barometer that consumers only trust a third of the social media advertisements that they actually see. And as a result of this, in 2016, it took on average to get 5.8 touch points to make a sale. However, today in 2025, that average is now 11.2 touch points to make a sale. Ultimately, the entire market has shifted, creating more sophisticated buyers with the highest levels of skepticism and the lowest levels of trust ever seen before. To make matters worse, attention is the most valuable asset that you can acquire with your marketing. However, due to the AI content generation, it is the most elusive thing for you to acquire. To put it simply, linear marketing no longer works. The days of running an ad to some form of gated content and hoping that someone books an appointment are long gone. No one in their right mind would ask someone to marry them on the first date. However, I see thousands of businesses consistently asking customers to marry them after the first engagement. It does not work. Therefore, marketing strategies in 2025 and beyond need to make sure that they are focusing more on building a relationship with someone before they ask for the sale. In other words, you must run a relationship-first marketing strategy, which ultimately leads into the point of this video. Let's jump into the RBC² marketing framework. The 4-phase RBC² marketing framework consists of R, relationship, B, bridge, C, conversion, and C, close. What makes this framework different is that its focus is on manufacturing trust systematically. Now, I want you to think about the last referral that you got. Do you remember how easy that sale was? They practically came to you pre-sold. Now imagine your marketing does this for you 24/7. Instead of trying to interrupt and convince customers, you're fostering a relationship with them and guiding the natural decision-making processes. The RBC² framework does this by utilizing the marketing psychology principles developed in the 1960s by Eugene Schwartz and marrying them to today's buyer's journey, which is infiltrated with AI. By joining these two forces together, we're able to build relationships at scale while reducing the amount of time, cost, and effort across the board to get a sale. The underlying focus of the marketing strategy is building a relationship with your market that is based on trust. So let's break down each phase of the RBC² framework and show you how you can start utilizing it in your business today. The first phase of the RBC² framework is the relationship phase. This is the fundamental phase and core component of this entire strategy. The objective is to build an infinite relationship with the prospect through every single engagement. From scrolling on TikTok to watching YouTube videos, reading blog articles, going through communities on school or Facebook groups, or any platform for that matter, we're ultimately working on strengthening a relationship with the prospect through every single engagement with your brand. Just like any relationship, time is the number one component to building a strong and trusting relationship. Unfortunately, unless your name's Marty McFly and you're in Back to the Future, you cannot go back in time. However, you can inject time into present day. Your story is a timeline in and of itself, and every relationship is built on learning about one another, where you came from, what you do, who you are, why you are the way you are, etc. When you share your authentic story with prospects, you help them understand your background and the journey that you've been on. This helps them build the familiarity that they need to have a relationship with you to make it feel like they've known you longer than they actually have. It's like creating a highlight reel that shows them your entire history together, even though you guys just met. Mediums in which you can use for your advertisements and content for the relationship phase can include social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, etc. The display network, so Google Display, AdRoll, etc. Communities, school, circle, Facebook groups, whichever community platform you prefer, your email list, and also YouTube. However, we don't stop there. We want to continue building the relationship with our target audience and earn their trust. When you trust someone, you believe in what they say. Trust, in other words, equals belief. So while you're building out your relationship content, you want to instill the beliefs that your market needs to buy from you from an expert position throughout every phase of the buyer's journey, which ultimately leads me into the next phase, the bridge phase. During the bridge phase, we are bridging the gap from problem to solution. When your prospect has been identified as having the problem, you then want to start bridging them to the solution. However, you can't just tell them what the solution is. This is because we have something called buyer resonance and cognitive dissonance. We all have a predetermined or preconceived belief system that is already established within us. Buyer resonance is the emotional and psychological alignment between a buyer and a product, brand, or message. Where on the other hand, cognitive dissonance is the psychological discomfort or tension that arises when a person holds a contradictory belief, value, or attitude, or when their behavior conflicts with their beliefs. So to simplify, buyer resonance is a positive, cognitive dissonance is a negative. The more sophisticated your market is, the more likely they are to come with baggage, aka cognitive dissonance, that must be overcome before they'll be receptive to your solution or your offer. To properly bridge the gap from problem to solution and even product awareness, you must be able to identify what beliefs your market must have before they're going to receive and accept your solution. In other words, you need to know what beliefs they need to have before they're actually going to believe what you're saying. You may have seen marketers in the past use old way versus new way. This is applying the concept of bridging the gap between what the prospect has been doing and identifying why that failed, aka the old way, and what they should be doing instead and how that will be better for them, aka the new way. Mediums and channels that you want to use to execute the bridge phase of the RBC² marketing framework are social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn, the display network, Google Display Network, AdRoll, etc., your communities, your email list, YouTube, blog articles, and forums. Forums are a common place that consumers will go to get questions answered and get peer-to-peer feedback on the question or problem that they have. This will be getting a first-hand experience to identify what went wrong and what other people did to solve that problem. After you've successfully bridged the gap from problem to solution, you can then focus on converting the prospect. This is the next phase, the conversion phase. The conversion phase is probably the most familiar aspect to your marketing strategy. We're focusing on converting prospects from marketing qualified to sales qualified opportunities. This is typically done by using an appointment conversion event within Ads Manager. However, there's a very deliberate process in how you drive that conversion using the RBC² framework. At this point in the buyer's journey, your prospect is already problem aware. They identified the solution as being the solution they want. However, they're still looking for the provider of the product to deliver that solution. If you think about this in context of buying a vehicle, let's say I have a problem. I just grew my family from 5 people to 6 people and my vehicle is no longer going to work for me. I have a problem. The solution is I can either get an SUV, I can get a minivan, I can get a cargo van, whatever it may be. I decide an SUV is the best solution for me. Now I'm going to be looking at different products. That could be a Lincoln Aviator, that could be a Lincoln Navigator, it could be a Range Rover, whatever it may be. And those are different products. So how you take someone to product awareness is going to be communicated completely different in correlation to the RBC² framework. The information you should be communicating at this phase is 1, mechanism breakdowns. You should be showcasing the mechanism of your product that delivers the dream outcome your target audience is after. Number 2 is actually showcasing the transformation and dream outcome. You could typically do this through case studies or other types of storytelling advertisements that will showcase the outcome that your target audience wants to achieve through the purchase of your product or service. And 3rd, benefit stacking. Stacking out the different benefits and features of your product and service that is going to showcase why you are the more superior option on the market. Lastly, you want to make sure that your case studies are showed and articulated well to establish trust and a relationship with your target audience as they're going through the conversion phase. Mediums in which you will execute the conversion phase are going to be your social ad platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. You also can leverage the display network with Google Display Network and AdRoll, your nurture sequences, SMS, email, and calling, search with branded search terms such as conversionly reviews, conversionly testimonials, does conversionly work, etc. And lastly, long-form content platforms like YouTube or your communities. After your prospect converts into an appointment, then we will proceed to the closing phase. The last step of the RBC² marketing framework is the close phase. In most instances, you'll see marketers will stop their advertising after someone's taken the appointment conversion event. However, the close phase is arguably the second most important part of the RBC² process. You see, you've put in all this effort to get a prospect to this point. However, you are stopping during the decision-making cycle. In this, you need to make sure that you're leveraging the close phase to achieve 3 aspects that are absolutely vital as the prospect is making their decision to get them over the edge. By doing this, you're able to shorten your sales cycle. Number one, indoctrination. This is the process of indoctrinating your market into your business, your culture, establishing the belief in your company, and ultimately the delivery of your product or service. Think of this as a what will it be like if I decide to hire you? Number two, sharing customer experiences. Typically, you're going to see testimonial videos, reviews, things like that. However, you can help the prospect overcome their doubts in the customer experience support and handle the will it work for me objections by utilizing testimonials and shining out key aspects of those testimonials that call out those primary objections. And number three, outcome visualization. Lastly, we want our prospects to start visualizing what the dream outcome will be like in working with us and it becoming their reality, painting the picture of all their problems going away and achieving their success. Mediums and channels in which you'll retarget your closed phase audience are going to be social platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, X, YouTube, your post email nurture sequence, and lastly, your sales collateral, things like agreements, proposals, etc. Now, as you can see, 2025 is going to be a pivotal year for most businesses. Some businesses will go out of business, unfortunately, while others are going to flourish and dominate their market. Those that choose to adopt a relationship-first strategy are going to flourish and be able to capture more audience attention, build better relationships, and ultimately grow their sales revenue. If you want more tips and tricks just like this, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. See you in the next one.